Welcome, Bafethu. I am Gustavo, and this is the Ballers Hub. Today with me is Utami Zondi, my brother. Great.
Gustavo Mnad, my brother. It's been a while, man. Thank you very much for welcoming me to the Ballers Hub.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while indeed, my brother. I think the last video that we did, we previewed the CAF draw and the possible fixtures, But here we are today. You have Mamelodi Sundowns playing Esperance, Tunisia. Then you have Orlando Pirates playing MC Alger. So, what are your thoughts on the two South African teams making it so far?
My brother, let me say this. I think these are exciting times for South African football as a whole. I mean, Bafana Bafana has just played, 18 games unbeaten. And then if you look at the core of the team, it's coming from the two teams that are playing Champions League football, which is Mamelodi Sundowns and and Orlando Pirates. It's been great for South African football because we must not forget that even Stellenbosch, they're playing quarterfinals as well in the Confederations Cup. So it speaks volume of how our football has taken the world. Because I mean, if you look closely to the national teams, South Africa has 90% of its players coming from the local league. That speaks volume of the quality of the players that are coming from these two teams. I'll keep emphasizing that because obviously 70% of Bafana is Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates. So I'm expecting these two teams for me to go all the way and do well in the CAF Champions League. And of course, as you said, we spoke about in our first video, and exactly what we predicted is exactly what's happening at the moment. It's Sundowns against what I normally say they are Hoodoo team because Esperance in Tunis has been a very, very difficult team for Mamelodi Sundowns. If you look at history, I think the last time they actually won or beat Esperance was back in 2000 when Sundowns went all the way to the finals, if I'm not mistaken. And they have not even scored against Esperance in Tunis in three consecutive games. So that's how difficult it is. And you look at Orlando Pirates, you're talking about a team that had the highest number of points in the group stages. I mean, they had 14 points. Rene Mufugeng was the joint highest top scorer with 3 goals. They went to Algeria and got a win. They are playing against an Algerian team. Probably it's going to be advantageous to them. They went to Al Ahly and shocked the world and beat Al Ahly. So we are expecting, obviously, that's history. It doesn't say much, but they should use that to their advantage.
Yeah, I for one, as a Mamelodi Sundowns supporter, I can say that Esperance have been sort of the boogeyman, to us, But currently, we find ourselves with Coach Kadoso, who is Esperance's previous coach. Last season he managed to beat Mamelodi Sundowns both home and away, keeping clean sheets in both games. So what does this mean for a Mamelodi Sundowns side to have Coach Kadoso coaching them currently?
Obviously, my brother, it's a big advantage. I mean, I think I was listening to him. He is even still watching some of their games. So you can just tell that Sundowns have like a serious advantage against Esperance. But then again, it also means Esperance have an advantage because they know what to expect from a Mamelodi Sundowns team. But for me, I think a lot has been said. I think Mamelodi Sundowns, we have to be honest, and I think you can agree with me, they didn't have the best of group stages according to their standards. I mean, if I remember correctly, they played 6 games, they won 2. And there was even a time where everyone was starting to use calculators that would see Sundowns going to make it to the finals. And they drew 3 games and lost 1. And they were not scoring as much as we normally. Sundowns normally in the group stages, they always just go past our teams. They are playing Esperance. We have a coach who used to coach them. And for me, to be honest with you, I think Kadoso will find a way to beat Esperance this time around. I believe so. I've seen that he finds ways of getting wins. Doesn't matter how he plays. And I've been saying this. We've been saying this actually, Gustavo, that Mamelodi Sundowns supporters, including yourself, you guys need to accept that you are going to forget about football. You have a coach that has been given a mandate to win the Champions League. And if you look at the last game, the Nedbank semi-finals and the lineup, it shows that because the lineup was different, you can tell that the coach wants one cup, and this one cup is what? It's a CAF Champions League. You can tell that Mangoba Mnetz was relieved of his duties because they wanted one thing. They wanted the CAF Champions League. I think Kadoso is the right man to take Sundowns all the way to the finals.
Him and Coach Fabio, his assistant, it's good to know that this is their second season in Africa. You know, in their first season, they won Tunisian Esperance the league after Esperance failed to win it in the previous season. They've managed to reach the CAF Champions League final stages, you know, and also losing it by 1 goal. There was 1 goal in between the two matches, you know, 2 legs. You know, Al Ahly got the better of them, you know, but they played well in the first leg, played well in the second leg, you know, defensively they were sound, you know. But on the other hand, you have Orlando Pirates going to Algeria to MC Alger, you know. Coach Rivero was cooking in the group stages. Can he cook in the knockout stages?
Uh, my brother, Coach Riviera. Obviously, there's a lot being said in the media, obviously surrounding his contract, whether he's going to renew it or not. But when it's come to the field of play, I think he's been exceptional for Orlando Pirates. We have to be honest. Look at what the bravery in playing young stars like Abombogazi against teams like Mamelodi Sundowns. It tells of a coach that knows what he's doing. It speaks of a coach that is doing so much behind the scenes. And of course, when you speak Champions League, as I said, Orlando Pirates had the highest number of points across all the groups. Orlando Pirates went to Algeria and got a 3 points. Orlando Pirates went to Cairo and got a 2 points against Al Ahly. I think, but again, they're playing against an Algerian team that has been doing so well lately. If you're following the league, I think they've only lost one game, and they lost that game against CR, who was in the Paris group in the Champions League. Perhaps it's going to be an advantage for Orlando Pirates. I think yes, because now when you speak of the field things that are normally done by the North African teams, Orlando Pirates knows what to expect. Orlando Pirates knows what to expect as far as the atmosphere in Algeria is concerned. Orlando Pirates should be ready mentally so against this team. But of course, ISFA is a different team to CR. But when I look at their form, when I look at what they were doing in the CAF Champions League, I don't think they did so well. Because for me, they got 9 points and they scored how many? 4 goals and conceded 2. So they did not score much. But it also says they probably are very tight at the back. So I'm expecting a very tight game, but I'm expecting an Orlando Pirates that's going to look to go out there and get a goal or a point, because we must actually remember that as far as CAF is concerned, CAF are still using the away goal rules in the knockout stages of the CAF Champions League. So Pirates need to go out there and get a goal, and for me, a point would be enough before they come back to Orlando Stadium.
Yeah. Okay. Good team actually in Algeria, you know, currently the best team in Algeria. Currently find themselves sitting first on the log. And it's so difficult, man, to weigh the margins between a CR, a Blizzard, and the MC Alger, you know. But as it stands, Alger, the best team in Algeria, number one on the log. They find themselves in the knockout stages, you know. But we've seen a Saling in training, we've seen a Olisandai in training. You know, can you expect the return of these two players? You know, we know these are some of the two key players for Orlando Pirates.
If I were to predict, my brother, and in my take, yes, they might return in terms of the tournament day squad, but I do not see them starting. I see Orlando Pirates, and if you ask Coach Jose, I would actually play the exact starting 11 that played against Mamelodi Sundowns. I think for me, even though I know why he decided to go with the back three, because he was trying to make Sundowns in terms of the system and pound for pound, and of course trying to actually deal with the front three, probably the best front three across Africa of Ushalulile, Reyners, and Piero Costa. So I see the back three. I will still play Umbogazi left centre back. I will still play Usbisi as the central centre back, and then Ukogi as the right centre back. I will still have Makaula and the ever impressive for me Umbata. I will say this again. I don't see a better number 8, because people need to understand what do you say when you speak of a number 8. And then I'll have Urele. For me, has been exceptional for both country and team. He's been something else, and that's why I said he scored 3 goals in the group stages, so you can tell what he's been doing. I'll also have Mabasa up front as a number 9, but also even if you play Makoba, because for me, Makoba, it depends on what you want to achieve. You're playing away, you know that you won't have much of the ball as you would love. So you want somebody who's going to bully those defenders, and I would go for a Makoba. And then Utito has been out. I think he was injured because he was he even was withdrawn from the Bafana squad. But I believe that he's back in full fitness. But I wouldn't start him on the wing, because obviously if you're playing a 3, then you must have 2. But If he's fit enough, I'll still play him, and then with Umakopa up front. So I see them playing that way. I see that formation, because remember, Tito is exceptional. Tito gives Paris confidence. He's very important, and for a game like this one, our start team is fit. So I'll play that 3-4-3, and I believe they'll get a positive result away.
Yeah, on the side, the Mamelodi Sundowns, you have a Themba Zwane who has been out injured, but I think he's now fit to play, But can I expect to return in this match? I don't think so. But in his absence, there's a guy that has managed to say and put up his hand and say he's gonna be one of the players that's gonna carry the team. There's a guy who's been carrying the team alongside Tebogo Mokoena, which is a Lucas Ribeiro Costa. The Brazilian has been exceptional in the league domestically, So can we expect Lucas Ribeiro Costa to shine in the knockout stages after not shining in the group stages? Can we expect them to shine alongside Tebogo Mokoena? Can we expect the two to shine?
My brother, when I speak of Tebogo Mokoena, I always say this. I still don't understand what he's doing in South Africa at the moment. For me, we're speaking about the best central defensive or modern central defensive midfielder in Africa currently, or playing in Africa, club football in Africa. And I really thought that immediately after AFCON he was going to leave South Africa, but he's still around. And you are speaking about Ribeiro Costa. Even though I did not watch Roger Fetum, but they normally say he was probably the best export made by Mamelodi Sundowns. For me, in my lifetime, honestly speaking, Ribeiro Costa has been something else. This is what you do as a big team when you go outside the borders and get a player. You get that quality. I think you're forgetting to mention somebody. There's a new player. There's a new energy in South African football. I'm saying new in terms of how he's playing. Jaden Adams. I think people need to be careful. The boy is playing between. He has changed his game. I'm not sure if you are noticing Sawana Gustav. He's no longer deep as he was with Stellis. He's playing between the pockets in Mafana. I think Hugo Bruce is doing something exceptional for South African football. Remember, he is the one who made even Jose see that you can actually have a Rere playing a half 10 and a half winger. You know what he's doing now? He's saying, you know what, Mamelodi Sundowns, if you don't have Mshishi, you have Jaden Adams. You have somebody that's going to play Esplon lane. You have somebody who's going to play between the pocket. You have somebody who's going to get you goals when you need them. And my plan, I'm telling you, for me, these three players I've mentioned are key to Sundowns going to the semi-finals. And lastly, there's a player that I'd say is one of the best when it comes to ball playing, Suarez. But he was very tested against Orlando Pirates as far as pace is concerned, as far as one-on-one is concerned. You are gonna be dealing with a player like Elias Mokwana. You must be very careful. And if you've noticed and you see how even last season, last time Esperance played Sundowns, their wingers, I think there's a Brazilian there, number 10, if I'm not mistaken. He comes from the wing, and Suarez, because I believe Sundowns probably going to play Suarez and Kekana or Primo Diba if he's back, because I think he was given a permit or permission actually to go and attend personal reasons. And if he's back and playing, you will have him on left back. But I think Suarez will have to be on top of his game because Elias Mukwana is going to be coming for him. But back to your question, Mukwana is exceptional. And I hope at least after this Champions League, after the AFCON, he leaves because he deserves to play in Europe.
Yeah, hey, you have a lot of talent, a massive talent in that Mamelodi Sundowns midfield. Easily, if these boys are to stay in Mamelodi Sundowns, they are easily giving you the best 5 years together in that team. You're going to get quality together in the team if they are paired together and playing together, But before we close, my brother, any last words?
I'd love to close by saying, obviously, we wish all teams, and we should not forget Stellenbosch. I always say that something exceptional is being done in the Whitelands. They are playing against Zamalek, and I'm going to tell you something. If Zamalek think they are just playing any so-called small South African team, they're in for a surprise. Stellenbosch are not pushovers, and I think they will surprise a lot. But as far as Sundowns and Pirates are concerned, I see positive results. And if I was Orlando Pirates, I would be very careful. It's no longer group stages. You don't need to be excited and go all the way out. You won't have another opportunity to fix or to recover. You go there. The first 15 minutes is always important, my brother. We always talk about it. You conserve yourself. You're on top of your game. Okay, they need to be on top of their game as far in the first 15 minutes. Remember, crosses are going to be coming. Those lights in Algeria, everything. If they can get rid of that 15 minutes without conceding, then they get a goal. Even if they concede, a point for me is enough. But for Mamelodi Sundowns, they need to win and they need not to concede against Esperance.
Yeah, I think the best advice you can give the gents, is to go win your away game and score away, and don't concede at home. I think that's the best advice you can give the boys both. But yeah, Bafetu, this has been the Ballers Hub. I am Gustavo, and today with me was Utami Zodi. But my brother, till next time.